Chih-Ting is our working group lead for sustainability. And so I will let you do proper introductions to Ting and fill us in on what's going on in sustainability.
Sure. I think I will just start talking about the group. I'm someone who's been working in this space for some time with the mining sector, so I'm really happy to be part of this sustainability working group. So this group, as Heather mentioned earlier, is one of the youngest, and I believe it was established sometime during pandemic. So there was a bit challenging for us to convene and start talking about what the roadmap and the direction of this working group. Sustainability as a topic is very broad, and we have a really good steering committee. And however, it did take some time for us to really have several chats and with people within the committee and outside of the committee to start framing and narrowing down to what we would like to do in this working group. So the aim of this working group is to develop resources through collaboration on operationalizing sustainability. In this case, we refer to the process of making sustainability practical, things we can implement, perhaps measurable, and of course, technically capable and sound, and integrated throughout the operations and also throughout the life of mine. We would, as Heather already talked about, the main idea of the output of GMG is generally around guidelines, white paper, and materials that can help us implementation and get into our goal in whichever the group there might be. Next slide, please. I'd just like to acknowledge the Sustainability Working Group Steering Committee. We have a really good group of people. There has been some changes. However, I really appreciate those that have helped us develop the strategy and the roadmap for the working group. I know some of us are on the call. Not everybody can join today, but I just want to thank everyone who have helped guide this process. That's not to say that we cannot, things are set in stone. There are definitely opportunities to continue evolving our strategy, but I'm really glad that with the group, we have set up 3 main focus areas for the sustainability working group. Next slide, please. So the 3 areas of focus that we will pursue is number 1, advancing carbon net zero. And just remember that in the context of what we're trying to achieve is generally around the implementation and operationalization of these concepts. The second focus area is around promoting circularity in resources. That's also a very interesting topic that's coming up. If we look at the energy transition and the requirement of critical minerals, these top two topics are front and center in all the interactions that we have as an industry. So it's really great that we're focusing on these 2 topics. The third one, equally important, and I'm really looking forward to Natalie's discussion later on, is to think about the biodiversity and the nature positive aspect, which is really critical for our sustainability practice. So these are the 3 areas that we're focusing on. It's initially where we're going to be launching projects. However, there are opportunities to think about what else we can do. And in fact, through the process, we actually had to park certain ideas because we just didn't have the capacity and resources to do everything around sustainability. So if you have some good ideas, we might have thought about it. We may just not be focusing on it yet. So please stay involved in the group and perhaps reach out if you have some thoughts to share. So the first focus area around advancing carbon net zero. What we really want to do is we recognize that the climate risk and actions are high in corporate agenda over the last several years. And as well, the discussion around the critical minerals and the growth that it requires for the energy transition is obviously growing as well. And at the end of the day, we need to be more responsible miners, both in terms of our mining process as well as the mineral processing activities. We've decided that the focus area within advancing carbon net zero is really addressing and implementing low carbon energy sources as one of the ways to really help us get to net zero. Thinking about testing, adopting different or new technologies with high impacts. That's throughout the operational life cycle. So it's not really just about one activity, but all of the activity that could entail in a mining life cycle. We are thinking as far as carbon capture, storage, and utilization, and understanding that there is hard to abate emissions that we just cannot eliminate as a high impact industry, and thinking about if we have new greenfield project, what are some of the design opportunities we might have, both in terms of the mine as well as mineral processing, in order to minimize emissions as we start. And other things we're thinking about is around monitoring, and really thinking about holistically around what we can do at the mine site level. Next one, please. The second focus area around promoting circularity in resources is to find ways, because there is a need to adapt our approach to resource and mining to ensure that we're as efficient as possible with the resources which we interact. And so far, we're still defining this a little bit, but we want to start with sharing some of the case studies and really increase our literacy level, and engaging with the community to have a broader awareness and understanding of circular economy. What does that mean for our industry? How can we actually add value, or how can we improve, or how can we get on with this train around circularity within the industry? We are likely going to be thinking about looking outside of our industry for collaboration, and thinking about ways that through understanding and more knowledge of this to support the development of new technologies or initiatives or processes that can promote and finding ways to utilize the waste material of our industry. Next, please. And the last one is around taking nature positive action. There is, of course, rising expectations to be more transparent in relation to biodiversity risk management, nature capital reporting, and taking collective actions to really decrease our environmental impact and our impact on loss of biodiversity. So similarly to the second focus area, one of the things we're trying to do is trying to increase our literacy level and understanding of this concept, so that we can then take additional steps to either manage the risk, mitigate the risk, or finding ways to really take positive actions. We want to be, through our working group, we want to be able to have some activities to help supporting companies to strengthen their approach to biodiversity and understanding just the solutions that's available out there.